Cavalier faithful, Kobe Altman and company have made some moves today. Justin and I are here to bring you some commentary about them. But first, go in the description, hit the like button, comment down below. Do you like the signings of Ricky Rubio on a 3-year deal? Robin Lopez. I'm going to mess that up. We're going to be fine, though. Robin Lopez, not Brooke Lopez, and Raul Neto. Justin, let's start with Ricky Rubio. 18.4 million, 3-year deal.
Yeah, so Rubio was the guy last night, even when free agency kicked off and everything. The Cavs didn't make a singular move. We watched guys go by. I think, Jeff, you wanted Patty Mills. I don't know if he's signed yet anywhere.
I think he went back to Brooklyn for a very similar deal as Rubio.
Yeah, and so I think we were always in the market for that backup point guard facilitator of the offense and everything. I think like the rumor of Rubio coming back all year was like pretty extraordinary. I guess like he realized that business is business when he got traded. Obviously he wasn't going to go play for Indiana. He was, an expiring free agent coming up this season, and he knew what was going on. So that deal looks a lot better in hindsight. It might even grow on Jeff a little bit more now that you can make the argument that because Karis LeVert is here, we are not, and this isn't definitive, but with the moves that we've made today and how things seem as of right now, it looks like Sexton will not be coming back. If he is, I don't know that the money is going to be huge, which would not be a problem by my standards. But going back to Ricky, phenomenal guy, phenomenal vet to have on this team. His chemistry with everyone seemed sky high. His impact on the team through the season, through those, I want to say was, I had it pulled up here, through 34 games was pretty amazing. And as soon as Sexton went down, his pairing with Darius Garland was phenomenal. And very clearly, I think everyone wanted him back in the clubhouse, and he's back for 3 years, 18 million. So just about $6 million a year, which I think is a good deal for a vet that contributes a lot to this team.
Yeah, it's definitely a good deal from the money side, but I'm a little nervous about the ACL, obviously. I have not been able to look if he's torn that ACL before or if it was the other one, which either way, it's not good. I believe he tore his ACL earlier in his career. But I think that's just a compromise to bring him back because I think he's going to retire after 3 years.
Yeah.
So retire a Cav, which could be cool, but it's like, yeah, I like the money, but I'm not going to be a stickler. I like the move. I would have liked the 1 year, but whatever. We'll give him security. We'll give him partial guaranteed. Some of the third-year money is partially guaranteed, is what I saw in some of the tweets you were sending me earlier. So he gets a little monetary security, and we get somebody who kind of jump-started Darius Garland's growth. So even if he's that, even if he's just a veteran for Garland to lean back on, can't really complain. Now, go ahead.
No, I just, the assist numbers is probably the biggest thing, like after Garland, our assists dropped, I think, astronomically. Karis obviously didn't have enough time with his injury, and when we brought him in to really get a good idea if he's a good passer or not, in my mind. Maybe others have a different opinion about that, but I think with this move, Rubio is still coming off the bench, and however the rotations, this is going to be the most interesting conversation is that we're going to have to talk about at some point. I don't know if we're going to talk about it in this video or maybe the next one, but when Logan can be with us. Yeah, and unfortunately, just to shout out Logan, life's hard for all of us because work is a B word, and unfortunately, we thought he was going to be able to make it. He's not. I'm sure he's going to watch and have his own thoughts, but we do miss him. We do want to get him on here, but unfortunately it is what it is. But yeah, we'll have to talk about those rotations in the future, but I'm liking the squad as of right now. I like what we have.
Yeah, I mean, we have some other smaller moves at the back end of today, obviously going with Robin Lopez as seemingly the sole backup 5 on the team. That kind of bumps Moses Brown out of the picture, in my opinion. Any reunion there seems to be off the table. And then Raul Neto, which is going to be he's your proactive Rondo move. So we don't have to make a move mid-season. if some Sexton deal would happen, as far as it being extremely, extremely, extremely team friendly, or maybe not, depending on how the Cavs want to approach it, I would assume that NATO does not make the roster. But I do agree with you that it doesn't really look like we have the firepower to offer Sexton. And I just think that's part of the injury too. I think he's going to take the highest bidder just because he's coming off that injury too. He's going to feel lucky. He's going to feel inclined. If he wasn't coming off an injury, maybe he takes a team friendly deal and stays with us. But I mean, he can't take, 3 or 4 years at 10 million annually if he's, it's not a serious injury, but it's an injury nonetheless. So I think the biggest team to watch out for him in the future is probably Dallas, as we've
Yeah.
talked. But I don't know who else is really on the table. I think it's us or Dallas. I guess if Dallas doesn't want him, he could end up on the Cavs. So how do you feel about the other two moves?
So Lopez is definitely a solid 5 backup. Obviously, like when Jarrett Allen got hurt, we brought in Moses Brown, who I thought he had potential. I think we agreed though defensively, he was kind of getting bodied a little bit more than we'd like for him to be, and I hopefully Robin is a good substitute for that, and he's a little bit old, but he's not going to see many minutes. But man, like that bench group that we have right now is just like crazy when you think about it. Even if you just like want to hypothesize about it, it's Rubio, it's Kevin Love, it's Lopez, and then obviously you have to get into like, okay, Okoro Levert or Ochai, whichever one of those guys isn't, or whichever one of those guys is starting, 2 of those guys are going to be coming off the bench to play the 2 and the 3, which I mean, regardless of what you think about Isaac and Levert and Ochai, like that's a pretty solid second group. Like that's 10 people. And then we're not even talking about Dean Wade, Lamar Stevens, Chetty Osmond. Some of these guys are going to have to get moved. Some of these guys are probably, I think there might be at some point a package deal. I don't know if we see it before the start
Someone's
of the
getting
season.
moved.
Someone's got to get moved, or someone, you can have 14 on the roster, right?
I think it might be 15, but I'm looking at this tweet right now, and we have with NATO and Lopez in it, and you have 14 already.
Right.
And this tweet left out Windler, which was later corrected to say that Windler's in the mix, but you don't need
Really, though?
you don't need Windler and Osman, and I mean and Ochai, and what you're not getting rid of Ochai. So that's basically your dilemma there. I think this is a typical, and people are going to disagree. Throw it in the comments if and when you disagree. I think this is a typical self finesse from Kobe Altman because he doesn't want to make the splash move. He wants to make a selection of 14,
Come
which,
on, Jeff.
but it's fine. If he wants to make the selection of 14, it's fine. But in a vacuum, it's fine. But think about it. He drafted 3 other players after that. He traded for He traded for the spot where he took Isaiah Mobley, and then he signed a backup 5 today.
I mean, like, I understand that, but it's not like that's everything that happened after Ochai to me is very like I do not care. I do not.
So
think
package them. I don't want those picks.
What are you gonna package them?
I'll
for?
give you all
round?
those picks and Jetty and Windler and for the best thing back. And we don't have to sign Raul NATO. We could have got Kemba Walker or somebody.
I don't know. You can say we would get Kemba Walker, but
well, you know what I'm saying though. I just think the 3 other picks we've agreed that the 3 other picks were always dumb, and then I mean, why didn't we draft the backup 1 instead of Isaiah Mobley?
What is Luke Travers? Is he like a 2 or 3?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
but it's like none of them are making the roster. Like we look silly.
Right. I don't know that we look silly. The Grizzlies drafted 3 players, like it's not like those 3 players are gonna play or whatnot. It's really like that second round pick thing is just like, man, like the NBA is so competitive when you look at the MLB and the NFL. It's like those guys, they're drafting 7 rounds and then however many rounds in the MLB. Like if you're drafted in the second round, can you name anyone in the second round that you can think of that's a relevant guy outside of Draymond Green?
I mean, usually it's just people that are undrafted that are some of the better ones too. Anyway,
yeah, it's tough, but I saw something about Raul Neto that supposedly he is one of the Cavs assistant coach's like favorite player.
Okay,
I have no idea. Chris Fedor tweeted about it. Cavs agreed to deal with one of assistant coach Antonio Lang's favorite players, Raul Neto, which I don't know how much stock that carries or whatever, but I guess it's just an interesting thing nonetheless. But yeah, the roster right now is like set in my mind. I've been the minute Rubio was signed, I had it in my head that Sexton's gone unless he takes such a cheap deal that it looks like a win-win for us and Karras gets packaged with Chetty and whatever, and we get something back for that. But, you know, as of right now, I mean, like, man, I really like the makeup of this team. You have clear backups at almost every position. You know, I think Karras did played the three at some points last season. I think that's probably your biggest hole is like we still don't have a true three. You don't have like a small forward. You have guys who are playing too tall and guys who are playing too little. That's probably the biggest and only complaint that I can surmise from what our team is right now. But like outside of that, I really, really do like what we have here.
Sure.
Is there going to be a move maybe later on in the season? There could be. I mean, you have to look at situations that are going on right now around the league. I mean, we're not going to be a part of the Kyrie, Kevin Durant stuff. You know, the stuff that just happened with Utah is very interesting because I personally don't like any of the guys that Utah got back for Rudy Gobert. And it seems like a complete rebuild move because they got a ton of draft picks. So, you know, and the rumors out there that Donovan Mitchell is, you know, potentially going to the Heat. Maybe if he makes it to the season with the Jazz, maybe that's something you look at. But
at least like, Gobert didn't go to the Warriors.
Yeah. Gosh, that was something Jeff had surmised, and I was like, if that happens, just like I'm gonna stop watching basketball.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna stop watching the playoffs. Like even if like we make it, you know, as soon as it's over, it's over.
I mean, they don't really need him. They have James Wiseman, but I know what you're saying, and that's why I don't like. We seem locked in as far as a roster. I don't like that. Keep it open. Just keep it open, and everybody is. I've always said this. Everybody's movable except Garland, Mobley, and Allen. Yeah. Everybody else is movable. Yeah. If Durant wants to stay in the East, you have to make a call.
Sure.
Even if you know you're a Mitchell you're a Mitchell guy. I'm personally not. But you're thinking the same way. If Mitchell, and it's a lot of we just saw with DeJounte Murray. Inaction is just as bad sometimes as action because you don't make it. So okay, you know, put your arguments out there for why we didn't need to or want DeJounte Murray. I agree. I agree with those arguments. But it's like okay, Atlanta got him. So a team in the East just got better because of our inaction, and that's always going to happen because you can't have everybody. But it's like you know. I don't want to be locked in on July 1. Long way to the season. Who knows who gets disgruntled, you know? Yeah. What if Ayton walks from Phoenix and then JaVale McGee's already gone? Maybe Chris Paul is, who knows, and Devin Booker's available. Total pipe dream, but you got to just keep the options open. You know how fast NBA stars in this day and age get upset. So that's my final word.
It didn't take too long for KD and Kyrie to get out of.
No, well, especially those two weirdos. They have no trouble being weird like that. I mean, who knows? And that is just people like copying that behavior. It's like, oh, Durant's moving. You know, I might as well move. That's why people don't like LeBron because they thought that he was, you know, the big three. Yeah. So it's whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely tough to get into those moves and like trying to predict those moves. Like as soon as Atlanta made the move for DeJounte, I knew it was a rumor. But the other rumor that we had heard was Gobert to Atlanta. And so once that happened, it was like, all right, well, Gobert's probably staying and Donovan's the one moving to Miami. And, you know, now you have Gobert with they're copying us in Minnesota with the two tall big lineup.
They are. So, they are.
Very interesting there. Glad they're out in the West, but definitely a matchup to look forward to in the season. But Jeff, anything else on the three guys that we got and free agency in general with what's remaining with the Cavs? Do you think there's going to be another move outside of Sexton? Because I personally do not.
No, I think we're done for right now. Yep. Look forward to Summer League in Las Vegas, and that's about it.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, cool. For Justin, I'm Jeffrey. it's been 2/3 of Cavs encapsulated. Logan, we do miss you. He said he had a lot to say about this, but we'll get him on here. The off season's long. We'll get him in on a video. He could go on a spiel about Lopez and NATO. So it's gonna be it for us. Hit the bell notification. Make sure you never miss an upload, and make sure you come back for more Cavs content in the future. We will see you guys in the next one. Peace.